Guys, I've discovered a lost prophecy, told from the far-gone era of 2011. It might be the one and only of its kind, so I'm going to be very delicate with it, okay? In this depiction, I know it's difficult to kind of make out. It's very ancient. But it says right here, Jinbe, you gotta join my crew. This piece of the puzzle finally makes it make sense, ladies and gentlemen. Jinbe was destined from 9 years ago to join the Straw Hat Crew. Yes, it was really that long ago. Okay, not 9 years ago exactly, because I went back and checked. It was December 5th, 2011. That makes you feel old if nothing else will. December 5th, 2011 is when that chapter first came out. After Luffy leaves the beatdown on Horty and they defeat all of the new Fishman pirates, and Luffy's losing blood because Horty went all chomp chomp nom nom on, you know, his shoulder and stuff. Luffy's there bleeding out, and Jinbe's like, alright, well, just hook me up to him. And then they're lying there on the ground, and there's that great moment, just that awesome scene where all of the citizens of Fishman Island, merfolk and fishmen and everyone are coming together and watching this display of just, well, gratitude for one, but also respect and just compassion for a human. And of course the fishmen and the merfolk have had a very sort of rocky relationship with the humans, and of course, yeah, Luffy and his crew were the ones that defeated the new Fishman pirates and Horty taking over everything, but even so, you know, a fishman, Jinbe, you know, among all others, Jinbe, who was the first son of the sea, a really important fishman, giving his own blood to Luffy. That's a huge symbolic thing for fishing and merfolk culture at that point, right? So it's a beautiful scene. And then he's like, Jinbe, you gotta join my crew, man. Be my nakama. And I remember reading the chapter way back when, wow, okay, December 5th, 2000. That was my first semester of community college. I was actually, that was right before I started working at Dollar Tree of that year. Oh my god. that does make me feel old. Holy crap. But yeah, and then the next chapter, he's just like, what are you doing, Jinbe? What do you mean, no? Which is like, what? Wait, he said no? And that, by the way, that was off screen, because that chapter ends with, you know, like, Luffy, you gotta join my crew, Jinbe, you gotta come over here, be my nakama, and then the chapter ends, and everybody is like, alright, they say yes, that's what happens. You know, this has never happened before, where, yeah, sometimes you have things like Nami, who, like, you know, oh yeah, I'll join your crew, Luffy, and then a couple of arcs later she leaves, and then she comes back and everything like that. But never has it just been like imagine we went through all of Thriller Bark and it's like, hey Brooke, want to join my crew? He's like, no thank you, just don't feel it. You know, it's just like, what do I go through all this crap for, right? So in the next chapter, Jinbe's like, I'm sorry, Luffy, you don't understand. I'm like a Yakuza boss fishman, alright? I got a lot of stuff going on. I got a lot of connections with people you don't want to piss off, alright? I gotta go deal with some other shit first, but then after I solve that problems and I tie up some loose ends, I'll come and I'll join your crew. So, Punk Hazard, Dressrosa, Zoe. Finally, we get to Tautland, literally hundreds of chapters later, and then Jinbe's back in action at Tautland. You're like, alright, cool, he punches Opera in the stomach! Yeah, that was nice, right? And he frees Luffy from the book, and remember, it is directly because of Jinbe's intervention that we get this image of Nami's boobs, so... yes, thank you very much, Jinbe. But then at the end of Tautland, it's like, yo, okay, we gotta go, come on, we gotta get out of here. And then the Sun Pirates show up, and it's like, you shall go, boss, you know, be with the Straw Hats. I'm like, alright, finally. Sorry, Luffy, can't do it. Oh, come on! So, it's weird, isn't it? It's so weird. I'm just saying, how long did it take Zoro to join the crew? Like, one chapter? You know, just, hey, join my crew. Alright, join your, give me some food. Alright, join your crew, why not, right? You know, didn't take very long in that regard there, so, oh man, you know, I will say this. I am a staunch advocate. I am a staunch advocate for Carrot joining the crew. I'm not going to go on and on about it, but I will say, if Oda really did intend Jinbe to be the final member of the crew for this story, I mean, the way that he went about it, it's like Jinbe had to put in the most hours in order to gain that status. Not because Luffy's like, oh, you gotta do all these mini quests until you can become a member of my crew. But no, just all the stuff we had to go through, both the fan base, throughout the years, sticking with it, and also Jinbe himself severing a connection from a Yonko in order to join Luffy's crew. That's a significant thing. You just can't, skip out on Big Mom and just expect nothing to happen of it. Remember the whole thing with Sanji and Beige when he was like, oh yeah, by the way, if you refuse the invitation to this tea party, yeah, you're gonna end getting a severed head in the mail, so yeah. So Jinbe had to do this a certain way, right? But it's just, it took a long time to get to this point. But it's all good now. Last chapter, 976, Jinbe is back in town, and, the Straw Hats accept him with open arms. So this is going to be a video of just some things that I really want to see from Jinbe. All right, Jinbe is here, and he's in charge. He's the boss. I love how the crew also, like Luffy calls him Jinbe, but then the rest of the crew are just like, boss! I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun. So the first thing that is very much overdue is that we need to see Jinbe interact with the rest of the Straw Hat crew, okay? Because they all have dynamics with one another. Once again, I've come out and said this as well. I would really like for us to see the Straw Hats just chilling out on the Sunny more and just, palling around and see the different interactions. Like, you could pick out any two Straw Hats, and I could tell you something unique about their relationship. It might not be much, like some more than others. Like, obviously, Sanji and Zoro have their old rivalry. Actually, I just realized that Sanji and Zoro are direct opposites on that poster. That is probably intentional. It's just like, yeah, they have that rivalry that they started back in Little Garden. There's some, more than others, though. Like, Chopper's relationship with Frankie. Like, well, okay, Chopper gets really excited whenever Frankie makes like, hey, Chopper, check it out. I made a mechanized crab that you can climb into and pilot. It's like, oh, Frankie, thank you so much. I'm a mecha crab Chopper now, Like, I'm really into mechanical crabs for something recently. I don't know why. Just the idea of a mechanical crab. I need to build one, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, you could do that. Now, Jinbe, on the other hand, he's sorely lacking in that regard. He's got the relationship with Luffy down pat. I mean, they've shared blood at this point, so yeah, and we've had the whole thing with Impel Down and Marineford, so that's pretty much locked in. But what about Jinbe's relationship to Zoro? That needs to be expanded a little bit there. And I'm not saying, he needs to have, a deep-rooted connection with every single member of the crew. Just something to go on. Because, right now, Jinbe, Zoro, they don't have anything really to go on, really, at all. Jinbe drinks sake, Zoro drinks sake. Give me one scene, Oda. Give me one scene with them just chilling out on the Thousand Sunny and just drinking together. That's all I want. Just something like that. Like, they're drinking buddies. That's awesome. Okay, cool, right? All right. Now, Jinbe and Nami, they do have something there because Jinbe actually felt really, really bad about the whole thing with Arlong and everything and how that directly affected Nami's childhood and wrecked her whole village and killed her stepmom. So, yeah, that was pretty, or adoptive mother, sorry. But that was pretty rough for Nami, and so he, took it upon himself to apologize to her directly during Fishman Island, and Nami said, don't worry about it, all is forgiven. Just the fact that you would apologize to begin with, that means the world, so thank you. I don't hold you accountable or anything. Nami forgives Jinbe pretty much the same way she forgave Hachi, so that was a really nice scene between them. So that's good. Nami and Jinbe have a thing there. Jinbe and Usopp, I don't really, honestly, like none at all, really. I mean, that needs to just be expanded upon. I'm not really sure what they could do together there. Usopp could maybe lie about oh yes, the boss of the fishmen, Jinbe, first knight of the sea. He takes orders from me, none other than, God, Usopp. And then Jinbe's standing behind him like, holy crap, he's telling the truth. That's him right there. Jinbe's gonna bring a lot of clout to the crew. I mean, already they got a lot of clout because it's that, Luffy's considered the 5th emperor and he's got a bounty of 1.5 billion. And, oh, by the way, keep in mind, right after Luffy, it's Jinbe now. That's right, because Jinbe's got his new bounty is 438 million, because I think it was mentioned, it was over 400 million, but they never actually specified an exact number. Last time his bounty was mentioned before the last chapter, it was oh yeah, it's over 400. So yeah, it's 438 million. So it goes Luffy, and then Jinbe, and then Sanji, and then Zoro. Love it. Okay. So, yeah. But the fact he used to be an ex-warlord, I mean, he's a lot older than the rest of the crew, except for Brook, obviously. But Brook spent 50 years floating around on a ghost ship. So, just like everybody in the world knows who Jinbe is. Like everybody knows who he is. The Marines know who he is. The world government knows who he is. So yeah, that's gonna bring a whole new like thing to the crew. But yeah, that maybe something with Usopp would be cool. Jinbe and Chopper, we had a little bit of stuff like that from Totland. So you just build on that a little bit there. Now, oh, one thing, just a tangent from this point on, we're not a member of the Straw Hat crew, but I saw a lot of people commenting this on the review. Jinbe and Kawamatsu interacting, because Kawamatsu is a pufferfish fishman. He calls himself a kappa, but that would be actually interesting because Kawamatsu doesn't really know much of anything about his heritage, about Fishman Island or what it is to be a fishman and all their culture and their history. Doesn't really know anything about that because he was raised from a very young age just to be told, just say you're a kappa. And then his mother died, so he doesn't really have much there. So, it's not like Kawamatsu's going to travel around with the Straw Hats after Wano, but while we're in Wano, that would be cool to see them interact. Maybe even team up and have a fight. That would be really cool. Like Kawamatsu and Jinbe fight against one of the members of the Numbers or something. I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there, but I did want to bring that up. Let's see. Okay, this is kind of messed up a little bit, but Sanji and Jinbe, actually, Sanji was a little bit, like not mad really at Jinbe, but a little bit touchy because of what Jinbe's actions led to Arlong, doing and in Nami's life. So Sanji was a little bit like, you say your piece, Jinbe, you apologize to Nami, but just to make it be known, you really messed up her life, kind of something like that. And Jinbe's like, I know, I want to apologize. I want to tell you the story of what happened. And he does. But, I think Sanji and Jinbe are in, good terms now. Jinbe does have the ability, a rare ability from it seems with fishmen. We've seen this with merfolk. We've seen like Kami and mermaids being able to speak to fish and give like the fish can arrive and give you directions and stuff. Jinbe is able to do that too. And Crocodile even points it out. He's like, hey, that's a little weird for a fishman to be able to talk to fish. And Jinbe's like, is it? He's like, it's not unusual. Not in my experience. So, Jinbe could like call fish to like come to the Sunny, and Sanji could like cook them. That sounds really, really horrible. I'm really kind of reaching there, but I'm just throwing it out there. Something to work with. I don't know. Oh, okay. Maybe not that gruesome because that's pretty bad. But no, let's think of it like this. Like Sanji, he's preparing a bunch of food one night at dinner. And normally you don't have a fishman on the crew, so Sanji he doesn't even think. He makes like, sashimi or something, or sushi, and he just makes a platter with that. And Luffy's like, hey Sanji, what are we gonna have for dinner tonight? And Sanji's like, oh, I'm gonna have some roasted salmon, some of the greatest fish in the... And then he just remembers that Jinbe's on the crew, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry. Did I just make an... I apologize. And then that would be the point for Jinbe to be like, oh, no. You don't understand, Sanji. Like, it's okay. It's fine. It's all right. And then maybe at that point, Sanji and Jinbe have a discussion about how that whole thing works. Like on Zou, how like the whole thing was like, yeah, we don't eat, animals with fur because the minks have fur. But any animal that does not have fur, like fish and like reptiles and stuff, the minks are allowed to eat. So maybe Jinbe can explain that a little bit. Like, well, it's okay as long as, there's like certain criteria. I don't know, but that would be kind of funny. All right. This is just my personal preference. I want Frankie to build like badass armor for Jinbe, because Jinbe already has even before Wano was the whole thing in One Piece, Jinbe kind of gave off the badass samurai vibe. Did he not? He wears the sandals, he's got the kimono, you could see him walking around like in badass samurai armor, just like, shing! You could see him do that. So Frankie, maybe some more like steampunk mechanical aspects of it, but you could see that. Jinbe is a pretty sturdy dude. He's kind of tanky, so in that regard, him and Frankie are kind of similar, so I could definitely see that there. Jinbe and Robin, Honestly, just, discussing the history of fishmen and stuff, maybe Jinbe might be privy to some knowledge that he learned. I mean, Jinbe's not a historian or anything, nothing of that nature, but he is a guy that grew up in the Ryugu Kingdom, so he might have some, information, some history and stuff that maybe it would be interesting to talk to Robin about, like maybe nothing like in detail about the poneglyphs, although, wait, hold on a second. The last road poneglyph, the one that we saw during Roger's flashback, was in the Sea Forest on Fishman Island, and it's not there anymore, so that's the one that's missing. It ended up somewhere else. That was only 24 years ago. 24, 25 years ago, something like that. Jinbe would have been like 20 when that happened. We didn't see Jinbe in that flashback, man, because he would have been a member of Neptune's army at that point. He was an Ammo Knight before he decided to travel with Fisher Tiger on the Sun Crew. I don't know if that's a good sign or not that this thing keeps falling down. We can't, you know what? I'm gonna solve that problem right now. Just gonna, yeah, okay, good there. It's a little bit more flat, but there you go. So would Jinbe have some information on where the last one is? Because the Straw Hats, when they first arrived at Fishman Island, they didn't know about the road poneglyphs yet. And then when they were in Totland, there was a lot of running around and things involved. Didn't have a lot of time to sit down and chat. You don't really have time to sit down and chat right now because we're in the middle of this massive battle on the way to Onigashima, but Jinbe, I'm just saying, Jinbe would have been alive and would have lived in Fishman Island, or the Fishman District anyway, and that's adjacent to the Sea Forest, because the Sea Forest is outside the island, so like anybody can just go to the Sea Forest whenever they want. So you think Jinbe would at least know that there was a road poneglyph there, or at least a red poneglyph, even if he didn't know exactly what it was. He's like, yeah, there's a regular one of those stones, and then there's a red one of those stones. It's just out in the forest, and it's not there anymore. So, interesting. I'm actually very curious, and he was working for Neptune. He was in Neptune's army, so maybe he was privy to some information. Maybe, I don't know about that. I was going to say maybe Neptune ordered Jinbe to, like, move it after the whole thing with Roger's execution, maybe to make sure nobody else could find Laugh-Tale, but I don't know. But he might have some information. That's something there. And then Jinbe and Brook, I don't know, maybe Jinbe can play an instrument. We just never knew. There's a lot of stuff. Like I said, he's in his 40s. He's had a long life up until this point. We don't really know much about his childhood. We know he trained in Fishman karate since a young age. Oda drew him when he was young, but beyond that, we don't really have much else of anything. So I don't know, maybe he's a great flute player. He busts out, he's like, oh, by the way, I can play the flute, that's my thing. I said it in the review that I want to get some quirky aspect from Jinbe finally. The fact, I saw a lot of people saying like, oh, he's like the dad of the crew, says he's older than Frankie, so it'd be like, Brooks the grandfather, so maybe he makes the dad jokes. I'm like, that would be funny, like my pun idea, just take that to dad joke level, and that's what his thing is going to be throughout the rest of the story. So, yeah, man, we've seen a lot of his attacks. I don't think we've seen, I don't think Jinbe has, he might have other Fishman karate techniques, but, his vagabond drill and everything, that's, his, strongest attack that he's got. We know he knows hockey. So it's nothing like, I can't wait to see Jinbe's real power. I mean, he fought against Big Mom in one-on-one single combat, hand-to-hand. I think we saw most of what he could do there, because he's not holding back against her, so he just, vagabond drill, boom, 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 oh, her fat rolls, they cushion the impact, and she gets knocked into the ocean. But going back to the thing, and I mentioned this in the video, the big thing that I'm concerned about right now with Jinbe is he showed up to the battle looking perfectly fine. He doesn't look like he's injured at all. He doesn't look like there's anything major that happened to him, and that is concerning to me. That's concerning to me because you'd figure, okay, even if Oda wanted to, stay true to his character, he's gonna go back and make sure that his crew is okay, the Sun Crew. I mean, it might not be his crew technically right now, but they were his crew. He was captain of the Sun Crew after Fisher Tiger died. And, they're his friends, they're his comrades in arms, they fought together for years and years. So it makes sense why Jinbe would go back and make sure they were okay, and they managed to fight off Big Mom and at least get away from her, okay? Distract her long enough so they can escape. Fine, that makes sense. But if that was all it was, if it wasn't a big deal, if it was just like, all right, Luffy, I'll be at Wano, just wait for me, and then an hour or two later, all right, we managed to get away, no problem. You know, like, there's no reason why Jinbe wouldn't just immediately go and catch up with the Thousand Sunny. And this has been weeks and weeks since that day, since they left Hotland. A couple of weeks there passed, you know, getting to Wano, and then more weeks while they were waiting for the Fire Festival to happen. So, or a week until the Fire Festival happened. So that's like probably nearing a month or so since the, you know, the end of Totland there. There's a lot of time frame there. So, yeah, I think something happened with Jinbe where either he got injured really, really badly, and Aladdin had to nurse him back to health, and he had to heal, and he has some horrible scars somewhere on his body that is covered up with his kimono. You know, we all thought he was going to be missing an eye, he was going to have an eye patch or something, he was going to walk into battle with a peg leg or missing an arm or something. Nothing like that. You know, we got to see all of his major limbs and everything like that. We got to see that. But yeah, there might still be a major issue there. You know, we might get revealed later on. It might be an internal injury that happened. Some people have said, well, maybe Big Mom used her ability to steal his life force. Well, that can't be the case because we already discovered that, you know, he's actually immune to that because you actually have to be afraid of Big Mom in order for that power to work. And he wasn't afraid of her. And that would actually be kind of really disappointing if it's like 1 minute he's like, I managed to stand up to her power because I felt no fear or hesitation in my heart. And then later on, he's like, I felt fear and hesitation in my heart. You know, like, so that's like, he's immune to that ability. One of the very few people that are immune to that ability. Something else that I thought, and this is also really depressing, what if, you know, he's okay, relatively, like, maybe he suffered some injuries from Big Mom, but nothing life-threatening. What if, a lot of the Sun Crew died? Like, what if, like, Wadatsume died? What if Aladdin died? What if Praline died? What if, like, it was a pretty bad massacre? What if, because of Jinbe's assistance, yeah, they managed to, like, if Jinbe wasn't there, they all would have gotten wiped out by Big Mom? Because Jinbe was there to fight alongside them, only half of them got wiped out by Big Mom. And they still suffered really heavy casualties. And after the battle, after the ones that managed to get away got away, Jinbe had to, like, you know, tend to the dead, and, like, we need to give them, like, a proper funeral and stuff like that, like, get their bodies back to Fishman Island or something like that. Maybe something really grisly like that happened. It's like a final respect for his comrades in arms. And after all that was said and done, he decided to return to Luffy after he grieved for a little bit, because he was just so torn up by it. I mean, like, you can't say that wouldn't be, like, if like, a big chunk of the Sun Crew died, Jinbe wouldn't just be like, well, they're dead, but I gotta get back to Luffy, so... No, I mean, that would really tear him up, especially if it was Aladdin or somebody that was, like, really, you know, prevalent during the time of Fisher Tiger. You know, and not just prevalent, like, we know Aladdin by name and stuff, but there was other members on the crew that were there since Fisher Tiger's time that we don't know about, but Jinbe would still care for them. So, yeah, that might be a situation. And then Jinbe decided after a couple of weeks, he's like, and it takes time to get to Wano, too. He can't immediately, like, fast travel to Wano or whatever. It takes time to get there. But anyway, finally, he decided to go to Wano, meet up with Luffy. But, you know, he's not gonna be, like, grieving and, like, crying and, like, Luffy, all my crew died. Because, you know, that's just not something to bring up, especially in the middle of a pitched battle. You gotta be motivated, you gotta be energized, you don't have time for that. So that was another idea that I had, and both of them are pretty bad, you know, for him to be seriously injured in a way like that, and for the crew to be, you know, wiped out. But I feel like there has to be some payment here for Big Mom arriving, for all of the Sun Crew teaming up and fighting. Oven was there, so many of the heavy hitters of the Big Mom crew was there, and they all managed to get out okay, because we see them later when, you know, Big Mom is talking to Kaido after Jinbe managed to escape and Whole Cake Island is kind of in ruins, you know, and then she takes her crew to Wano, like, Parasparrow's still there, Smoothie's still there, Daifuku's there. We didn't see Oven. Maybe Jinbe took out Oven, and as his last act, you know, you wiped out my crew, boom, and he just, like, blows off. It is like water wave and just like shreds Oven's face. It just, like, the water pressure just, like, you know, like, removes his skin and his muscles, and it's just a skull, and then it just falls to the ground. Keep in mind, we use, in our world, like, high pressure water to, like, cut diamonds and shit. Jinbe might be able to do that. He can literally take water and throw it all over his shoulder, so it's pretty devastating there. But yeah, I mean, you know, so most of Big Mom's main fighting force managed to survive. Okay, so I'm just saying, if there was going to be any heavy casualties, it was probably on the Sun Pirates and, like, the Germa Double Six's end of things. So yeah, let me know how you feel about that below, and how you feel about, like, the crew dynamic and everything like that. But yeah, this is big. Finally, it's happening. Watch. Next chapter, Jinbe's like, I made it back, everybody. Now, if you don't mind, I'm gonna sneak into Onigashima by myself while you guys circle around. And it's like, oh, no, you're not separating again. Jinbe, you're on the crew, you're on the ship, you're getting on that boat, and you're not gonna get off until we get to the One Piece. All right, good. We copacetic, awesome. Well, hope you guys have a good day. And at the end of all of this, you know what this really genuinely means? This means I can finally continue the Straw Hat discussion series. We'll be doing Jinbe's video at some point. I know I've already done, a video on Jinbe. That was actually one of the first videos I did, because the Warlord series was the first series I did for One Piece on this channel. So I already did a video on Jinbe there, but that was back in 2016, so a lot of stuff has happened since then, and we could talk about stuff, about his past and things, and go into more detail in that. Even if I've mentioned it before, this is a joyous day, alright? We were waiting for this to happen for a while. Okay, well anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. This will be Tekking101 signing out. Later, everybody. Boss, it's good to have you.